What's up, everybody there in YouTube land? Those on YouTube, if you're interested in crypto, blockchain, and interesting projects, that's what I'm going to be talking about. But why is crypto pumping so hard? I got to address this one here, actually, because I have a theory about it. Yes, CPI numbers coming out this week. Past trading patterns have been trading sideways or down before the CPI reports, and then pumping on the CPI report based on what the news was. Well, there's been some news that was not so great, and yet crypto kind of pumped. And that's strange. And so with CPI numbers coming out, we could see a little pump, and if it's really bad, it could come down. The crypto will dump, okay? I'm expecting just numbers in line. I think the CPI is not going to be anything above. It's just going to be kind of close in line with expectations. But not much worse or better. It's going to be close to the margin, okay? Helping bulls or bears, it could be that way. Could be a little bit bullish just because, I don't know, some of these numbers could see some of the prices of commodities having come down some. Gas is not one big, there's no moves on gasoline. Oil's been pretty stagnant. So why are things pumping? Why is crypto pumping today? Well, I can only think based on the catalyst of the Silvergate, the bank, the Silicon Valley Bank. The Silvergate debacle is looking like it's heating up with the FDIC, and they're going to take care of account holders, most likely. There's going to be somewhat of a run on the banks. Some people, if they feel insecure about their banks, and the ones that know if there's something wrong going with the bank are people with lots of money in the bank, because you can only insure 100,000 or so, unless there's a secondary insurance. So FDIC, you're good up to 100,000. That's why you have to spread your money out with a lot of banks. If you wanted to spread out a lot of money at 100,000 apiece, which would be very inconvenient banking. So the banks right now, Silvergate being the story after Sam Bankman-Fried, is going to be kind of like the backstory, and fading away is, will there be a run on the banks? If that's the case, a run on the banks could be potentially very bad. People withdrawing lots of cash. That would spur a somewhat of a banking crash, which I don't think is going to happen. I think the banks are going to freeze withdrawals. Okay, we've seen Wells Fargo already state something to the effect about freezing withdrawals, and that's very concerning. What does that do? Well, right now there's a movement, not just a technological revolution, but more or less of a social revolution. People are flocking to crypto because of their lack of faith in centralized finance in the banks that you go to, like Wells Fargo or U.S. Bank or whatever, okay, Compass Bank and so on and so forth. Smaller banks are going to get hit the hardest. If we see a banking collapse, which we could see a 1987 stock market flash crash, unfortunately, like the savings and loan scandal, I suspect there'll be a lot of investigations into the Silicon Valley Bank, and this whole Silvergate thing will blow up into a wide investigation with Congress, and the crypto story is going to heat up. And one of the first laws that we're going to see is a way of keeping banks from collapsing, most likely if they had some crypto exposure, because there's some banks that are going to have some crypto exposures now, and they were allowed to do so. There was nothing against them having a certain amount of crypto, but they lost a lot there. But on top of that, the Federal Reserve has been still raising rates aggressively, and what's going to be called into question big time is what Jerome Powell's last hearing in Congress indicated, And that is we can go from 0.25 back to 0.5 to address this inflation problem that the Federal Reserve is so concerned about. Inflation by itself is good for crypto. It means that the dollar's going to become worth less. Inflation means like $1 today in 10 years is like 90 cents or something like that. Could be a different number than that, but your dollar today is worth more than your dollar tomorrow. Well, crypto doesn't necessarily follow that fiat formula because there's a lot of technology and utility other than just currency use. Okay? So people are now looking at the centralized banking structures as failing, and people are looking at DeFi as a solution. And there's a lot of big hitters, a lot of people with big money who do support that. Whether you like him or hate him, Elon Musk, I think, is into decentralized finance. And Vitalik Buterin is one, obviously, as the poster boy of Ethereum. And one of the co-developers is very important. When I say poster boys, because he's docs. We know who Vitalik Buterin is. Mr. Canadian. Okay. All right. That being said, the crypto market is bound to see a bull market after 2022. Very long bear market. I think sellers are just getting exhausted. And I think a lot of people right now are going to be like, with the bank problem we're looking at, possibly a bank scare, they're going to flock away from fiat for a little while. Possibly go to gold, silver, Bitcoin. Bitcoin raises up. Ethereum raises up. High tide lifts all boats. There's one of the tokens I've talked about many times that I am a big fan of is Okinami. And Okinami is about the next wave in DeFi. If we can get DeFi to handle transactions, 100,000 transactions per second, i.e. with Eddie Keller, thank you, sir, for a super thanks, $9.99 super thanks. Thank you so much, Eddie. Appreciate that. If we can get 100,000 transactions per second, Ethereum being the gas of a lot of the blockchains, ERC20s are a lot of tokens out there. If we get the transaction costs way down, speed up there way high, the worldwide financial paradigm shift is going to happen soon. The blockchainization of Visa, MasterCard, moving credit card payments, moving then fiat once they're CBDCs. Now, let me end on this. CBDCs are not going to destroy crypto. Okay, this is really pissing me off. They're centralized cryptocurrencies and CBDCs, government ones, are not going to end crypto. In fact, it's going to push more people to DeFi because fiat, $1 is worth $1, whether you have a dollar bill in your hand, whether you have a dollar bill in the bank, whether you have a silver dollar in your hand, if it's maybe real silver, could be worth more. Let's just call it a Sacagawea coin that's not special, not rare. $1 is $1 in your hand, okay? A loonie is a loonie in your hand, okay? A British pound is a British pound. A euro is a euro in your hand, whether it's actual physical currency or held in the bank in some way. The fact that it goes to a blockchain means it's still based on the same thing that supports fiat. What supports fiat? What supports a dollar? What supports a yen? What supports a British pound? Okay. Just because it's on the blockchain doesn't mean it's worth more than the dollar in your hand. It doesn't. It's based on the full faith and credit of the nation. That means its assets, its economic strength, its political power, its reserves, and all those other things that make it wealthy is what ultimately backs the money. But if you keep printing it and printing it and printing it, people start to lose faith. If there's a precautionary infusion into the banks coming anytime soon, the Biden administration very well could have a major session with Congress to say, hey, we don't want to repeat 2007, 2008. If you saw the news this week, there's over $600 billion in liabilities with many banks that cannot pay back those liabilities. And that means there's debts on the books, $600 billion, okay? And that's just part of it. We don't, with all the disclosed and undisclosed, could be over $1 trillion for all we know. but we know about at least 600 billion. That could trigger a banking crisis. I see a proactive movement. Both political parties don't want to see a banking crisis happen. They will fund the banks again. Could be a precautionary infusion, which will devastate the dollar. I'm thinking the whole Silvergate thing could lead to a mini flash crash in the dollar. Things will kind of stabilize, and then actually we'll start to see the dollar now coming down because it's fairly clear that a recession is coming eventually, probably starting sooner than we think, because the economy peaked. The economy peaked. We're heading towards the next phase of the next bust cycle. So why again crypto's pumping today? It's if banks have a big problem in the centralized world, people are going to flock to decentralized assets. Okay, Ethereum, Bitcoin, and then there's going to be speculation, all kind of altcoins, and even more speculation. Degen plays going crazy. People buying up all kinds of crypto projects that have any merit in them, and see a really crazy rally. And this won't happen probably till after Shanghai update's done with Ethereum. Things stabilize there. I don't see people flocking to fiat. I don't see people flocking to the banks a whole lot right now. There's going to be a lot of trepidation. Money's going to be moving around either to stocks, real estate, bonds, maybe various assets that are not held by banks. So it's going to be a run on cash. People don't want to be in cash right now, especially if there's a potential banking collapse on the horizon, which happened in 2007, 2008, not that long ago. So our government is going to be very, very trepidatious, okay, very, very nervous. And they could do a pre-crash infusion to prevent it. Bailouts, again, for banks, some of which have crypto exposure. So if you have to bail out a bank with a crypto exposure, the government's also basically saying we'll bail out kind of, sort of crypto. And that would be the case if the FDIC is insuring the Silvergate deal. That's why the person making all the or the entity making all the decisions, the FDIC, which insures the banks. Okay, that's a big deal when you have to. There's the cuckoo clock in my videos. The people are going to be going cuckoo over their cash. Okay, they're going to be very nervous about these in the banks. And they're going to test it because they're going to be like, should I leave that in there or should I withdraw? Too many people withdraw on Monday. Oh, my God. So let's wait and see what happens Monday, folks. Well, with that being said, please, $1.99 super thanks. The smallest super thanks on my video gets you an entry into the raffle. The description of the video has the Telegram link to the raffle. $1.99 up to $49.99. We're going to pull the winner on St. Patrick's Day on March 17th. So $1.99 is one ticket up to $49.99 divided by $1.99 is basically 25 entries. And you can win some Okinami raffle. Please like, subscribe, share, get the algorithm going, folks. And let's just hope that Monday's not too crazy, okay? We'll see y'all next time. Later. Bye.